Hello everybody, this is Johnny S with another game review. Today I'm going to show you a game which is surprisingly good. It's called Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. It's a survival game. It's one of these isometric top-down games that I've done previously. I had a top 8, let's say. This was one that was not on the list if I remember correctly, and it was one that I had not tried. You do have to buy it through the Steam store, but it is very, very worth it. A very, very good game. It got me really hooked into it. The difficulty, I will say, is a little bit on the higher side. So many games, they're much more like on this type of games. There's not much challenge, let's say. This one is a little bit more challenging in the sense that you have to do a little bit more grind in order to get resources, and the upgrades that you do are a little bit on the slower side, let's say. Before we're going to analyzing this game, I do want to give heads up to two other games that were suggested. One is Death Must Die, and another one is Crimson Land. This was suggested on my previous isometric game review by a fellow YouTuber, a fellow gamer. One of them I knew already, the Death Must Die. I knew it because I had seen it on Steam advertised and everything. I think it's around $6-7. That one. I do want to get it. That's the next on my list. But managing the financial things, I've bought a lot of things lately, so I gotta cut down a little bit. But it's 100% on the next. I can't talk a lot about it, but from what I've seen, from what other people have suggested, including that fellow YouTuber, the fellow gamer, it seems to be awesome. It's got a little bit of a retro graphics to it, let's say, but it's really nicely done. I mean, it's done on purpose like that. It's not because it's like a very old game. It's an early access game, but on purpose they've done that nostalgic retro, which I like. You know what I mean? And by no means is it like old technology, let's say. Like you can tell from, even though that the graphics are retro, the animations are awesome, you know what I mean? So it seems to be like a very good game. I want to get my hands to it, and when I do, I will make based on my impressions, I'll make a review about it. But because it's got very, very positive, both of the games that I mentioned, they've got very positive reviews. I do recommend that you get your hands to them. And the other one is Crimson Land. That's an older game, and from what I understand and from what I've heard, the many games have gotten inspired by that game. It's an older game, but again very good. Sorry. Again, very good. It's much no, it's a little bit more expensive. I remember it's on $14, $13-14, something like that. But again, worth getting. That one is on a second priority. I was not aware of that. After it was suggested to me, I did have a look at a couple of other game reviews and like gameplay footage from some other like YouTube videos, and it seems to be very, very good. I don't know long-term wise for these two games that I'm mentioning. I don't know how addictive they get. You know what I mean? So that's a little bit of honorable mentions as far as the top-down isometric survival, let's say, games go. And now let's go into the Deep Rock Galactic. I'm going to keep the video very short. The whole point of the video is not to show a lot of things. It's not like a gameplay. It's not like a walkthrough. It's just a game review. My opinion is what I've done so far, if I recommend it or not. So I do recommend this, highly recommend it. It's not an expensive game. If I remember, I got something like $9, so it is worth it. Probably even cheaper, but like I said, I don't remember exact the price. You can find it on the Steam application store. It's a very addictive game. I think Asmongold was the guy that had done a review in his reactions, and I happened to like see his video on the YouTube I saw, and I thought, what the hell? How did this game pass by my radar? Again, like I said, I'm not a hardcore gamer. I'm not full into it. I'm an older guy. I'm limited time wise. Whatever I see from like a YouTube video, somebody else recommends something, and whatever advertisements come up on Steam, whatever grabs my eye, then I'll get into it. But for sure, I'm not let's say into full updated kind of a gamer. So this went by, this passed by my radar, and I got, into it. I bought it, and I was surprised by it. It's got like a space theme where you go into planets, Let me actually show just a little bit. So what you can see here on the screen is the main menu when you first start up. You got milestone settings and everything. You got your upgrades. So these are the upgrades that we're talking about. You collect different type of crystals and currency. You can sell these crystals in order for you if you want to focus on something. So let's say you got 13 of these, but you like these updates here. If you see on the right hand side, they require these resources here. So all these are these resources and some additional things. These ones they require the sort of greenish, light green things. This one here they require the white ones. These ones require the green ones. These ones the red stones. So let's say you've maxed this out, but you're still collecting these green stones. You can actually sell one of these to get money and focus on another one. So that's a good way that they've done in order for you to sort of load balance, let's say, your resources and focus more on something. And even if you haven't maxed that out, let's say you want to focus on the first column, which is like the damage, you know, and it is like damage, fire rate, reload speed. You might start selling everything and just focus on this, on the resource, which is the, which is this resource here, up here. And that's how you go about your upgrades. There's a lot of them, but this is the one that I'm saying that it takes a little bit longer. I've seen in other top-down games that it's more easy to level them up, which is a good thing and a bad thing. A good thing in the sense that you get like a little bit powered quicker. A negative thing could be on the long-term playability. You know what I mean? Because you kind of max everything out quicker, then it's just more of a repetitive process. I don't know how this game is going to play out. I've got it for around 1 week now, but I really do enjoy it. I have not maxed it out by no means. So yeah, this is one of the upgrade menus, and the rest of the menu is on the play. So once you go to play, you have a couple of masteries and anomaly divines that you unlock. I have not unlocked all of this, as you can see. So, you know, these are the resources that I've gathered. There's weapon mastery, there's class mode mastery, and biometric mastery. At the moment, I've only mastered 2 of them, and those ones not even maxed out. So the only 2 weapons that I've done is, I think, this one here, yeah, which is your basic sort of like and I've only done 2 stages of it. So at the moment, I'm on 9% damage additional on this weapon. So each one of these weapons, as you unlock, and if you can see, there's a lot of them. So there's a lot of things that I have not unlocked. Class modes, these are as per dwarves. You have different dwarves that you go in the game, and each dwarf specializes on something. You know what I mean? Mostly, I've been playing with the scout, which is like the classic guy that you first start. The rest of them are unlocked, and this is the guy that I've invested most of my time. He's very, very fun, but I've played with some other guys. And these are the main missions. So once you want to go into your main missions, you click here, and you've got 4 different sort of sections: planets, environments, let's call them, however you would like to call it. At the bottom side, it shows some unlocks. So 4 out of 6 is the sort of, let's say, the missions, the achievements, whatever you want to call them. 3 out of 6, 3 out of 6, 3 out of 3. But there's much, much more. So if you click on the crystalline carbons, let's say, which is the first one, the rest ones are locked, and you unlock them slowly. What is referred to the biome, the stage, the environment, whatever you want to call it. They've got different difficulties. At the moment, I've only unlocked 2 difficulties. This is the first one that you begin with. And it's got specific like goals, targets, whatever you want to call them. Specific tasks you got to complete. So this one is just to complete the dive. So you go in, there's 5 different stages that you play through. If you complete the 5th sort of stage, and this your resources and your upgrades carry over around these 5 stages. And they do get a little bit more difficult as they go on. The 5th one, you fight like a bigger boss, let's say. If you complete all that, that is called a dive, and the big bosses are called dreadnoughts. So you will hear a lot of funny sort of voiceovers that they've done in the game. That's also hilarious. And you know, once you kill the dreadnought, you complete what is referred to as a dive. You complete the stage. Of course, if you die at any point in time in between, you still gather resources as far as the upgrades go. So once you select your biome, let's say, you get to your selection of your character. This is the first guy that you unlock. He's the scout. Then you unlock the gunner, then the engineer, and then the driller. If I had to, like, a little summary overall, the scout is your classic guy, which is like quite quick. He's got an automatic fire weapon that auto targets guys. The gunner is much more heavy on the gun, as the name suggests, but he's a little bit tricky. You gotta face the enemies in order for the gun to shoot. So he's got like a submachine gun, let's say, but it shoots really, fast. So you gotta You can't keep your mind on like I'm going to mine through the stages and forget about the enemies. You gotta sort of face them and everything. Engineer, he's the guy that builds turrets. You can upgrade your turrets to follow you around. And the driller is much more heavier on drilling, and he's got different type of weapons, damage over time. He's got stuff like that. I have leveled them up quite a little bit, all of them. This guy is the biggest one on level 21. And let's click on this guy. At the beginning, you've only got the classic version of him. So the classic version of him will show you that you have some basic statistics and what weapon you're using. Then you have a recon that you can select, which has different statistics again and a different weapon. And then the squad trooper is the last sort of iteration of sort of, let's say, variants of the specific scout class. On the gunner, for example, I haven't unlocked this. I've only got this one, which is the minigun. I don't know what the rest are, so I'm no expert by any means. On the engineer, I think I've unlocked the two of them. So I've got this, which is the usual turrets, and the trinket. Playing between these two, it seemed that the first one was the best one because he's a turret-focused kind of a guy. And the driller, again, I've unlocked two of these ones, two of his first stages. So let's pick the scout, since I don't know what the maximum level. I think it's 30, but I could be mistaken. So once you pick your scout and your mod, the stage will begin. So let's click on it. It will load. It's quite quick. It's very nice graphics, as you can see. There's a hilarious sort of voice animations. You move around, automatically the guy will fire if an enemy comes close. The enemies get just destroyed, and the whole point is to survive. There's specific things at the top. So if you see, I'm automatically targeting guys. There's a specific sort of like a bar at the top. Once the bar fills up, it's going to spawn the boss. You kill the boss. You get upgrades as you level up also. So at the bottom you see my level, which is level 2 at the moment. So we have a selection. These are common, uncommon, rare, depending on how you want to build your guy. So I'm going to select reload speed. The little balls which fall from the enemies, you collect them for XP. And an interesting thing about this, if you see on the left hand side, you got your map, which shows specific resources. These resources are for upgrades, so you can actually dig through these things. So let's say there's enemies that are coming towards you here. They're coming from all directions. You can actually make a path, you know what I mean, like that, and you can stay here. So there is a strategy to it, you know what I mean. Some enemies will be able to dig through things. These ones at the beginning of the stages, they cannot dig through these things. And this guy is kind of a guy that you do not have to focus a lot on facing the enemies. You just go ahead. Now that I broke a little bit that section, the enemies will be able to come around this way as well. So you got to be careful how the point is to survive. The point is to gather materials. So you move around, and on the right hand side, you have another sort of like a goal, let's say, which on the specific stage here, it's telling me that I have to collect some flowers. So now there's a big spawning sort of thing that enemies have came to me. You gotta take care a little bit. There's some guys that they explode. Sometimes these guys it's good to like that, explode them. Okay, see, there's some explosions. It's not too difficult, like I said. You are a little bit time limited, in a sense. Those are like mini bosses, so you can keep on collecting experience. I'm not going crazy into what I'm picking up for upgrades. Usually I go with whatever is like higher rarity, unless there's some specific thing that I want to upgrade. At the moment, that's why you see me do it very quick. I'm not really paying attention. So on the map, you're going to see some points like that flower. If you see, it's noted as a bright white sort of thing. You gotta pick those up. We're 3 out of 6. Now we're 4 out of 6. So that's a good thing to try to do before you move along to the next stage. If you can get the objective on the right hand side of your screen complete, then you will get some resources, some points, some experience, some all these things. At the moment we need 2 more of these flowers, and the bar is already red. There's 1 flower here, which means that the big boss has spawned and he's chasing us. He's the big guy that you see. Once that guy is killed, there's 1 more flower here. We'll pick that flower. There's a huge explosion, as you see. We get a lot of resources, level, and everything. Let's go with fire rate. There's some beacons with supplies, and it's a good idea to actually get these beacons. You have to clear out the area for these beacons to trigger. Yep, okay. A little bit more on this side. We've triggered it. I killed the big boss. I'm gathering his experience. The beacon has fallen down. He's given us additional things. You can select your weapon, what to do. So each one of the weapons has 3 stages of leveling up when you get them up to a specific level. So if you see at the bottom, I've got my main gun and my boomerang. My boomerang is on level 6. So on level 6, you unlock the first thing. I'm going to make it to be able to magnetically pick up XP. I've noticed that this actually helps me. Your life bar is at the bottom. As you can see, you gotta be careful. If the red life bar goes 0, then you die. Let's go with reload speed. I did not pick up the resource here. You gotta go close. 1 second. So once you touch that beacon, that's when you're going to get your support thing. I'm going to select this. Like I said, I'm not explaining a lot of what each one of these things is. And this is the beacon. If the time runs out, so there's 2, 1, and I died. So if the time runs out and you don't make it to the beacon, this is a good example, then your mission fails. You have to make it to the beacon, meaning you have to organize, and this is an overview of what has happened. And most of these things, like I said, you keep them, you know what I mean? So you go continue, for example, it pops you in the main menu, and these resources now that you've gathered within that stage will remain with you, the money and everything. It doesn't matter if you failed or not. But if you complete, obviously you get more resources, more and more and more and more. So, you know, it's a it's an interesting one. It's very hilarious. I don't know if I'm going to put the sound to be like loud and show you what the voiceovers are, but it is very hilarious. Nice graphics. It begins easy, and let's say you're very casual gamer like me, then you can just pick the scout and play the crystalline, the first stage. That's what I've done. Like for 2-3 days, I was just playing the crystal. Even though I had unlocked other things, I just played the scout. You know, I liked him. So yeah, this is a great, great game. I recommend it to everybody. Get your hands onto it. The Pro Galactic Survivor, and I think you'll have a lot of fun with this game. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, and I'll bid you goodbye. Bye bye.